Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Sight. Today we have Game 3 of Battles and Beers, and I will be going up against Frank Habig's Order of the Brothermark. So let's go ahead, dive into the list, and get right into the game here. Frank is playing the Penitents. So he's got, I believe it's 6 regiments. One, two, three, four, five. Yeah, 6 regiments and 3 legions of Valiant Penitents. He then has the Oathsworn Guardians. He has 2 Order of Abyssal Hunts, one with the J Boots. He has an Exemplar Paladin with the lead from the front, giving him rally infantry only. He has 3 Exemplar Chaplains, all with the battle hymns. They're Rally 1 for Valiant only, and they have Fury for Valiant, or a Fury for Valiant only. And then he has 2 Dictators, one naked, the other one with the Periscope and Iron Discipline, which I thought was a really cool ability. It didn't really come up in our game, so the thought process is the Iron Discipline is something he can use even while he's in combat, from my understanding. And I think the only stipulations is he has to be able to see the unit that gets it. So Iron Discipline will go down here. So as long as he's not disordered, start of the range phase, he selects a single friendly core unit that has the human keyword within 12 inches and in line of sight. The unit immediately suffers D3 points of damage, but it gains Vicious and Inspire Self until the start of the following turn. No nerf tests are taken in this way. So his thought process is his Dictator can be in combat with stuff that's height 2, and then he can actually see over the top and provide the height, the Iron Discipline still. Still seems fairly difficult, but honestly, when you have this many units, it's very possible for him to get that Dictator into combat and still give that ability. Ideally, he's wanting to give that to the Penitents and everything, but it's a cool idea. It's not something you see every day, and I definitely like his list. So we'll go ahead and take a quick look at the game. And started on the wrong side of the pictures here, so sorry about that, guys. But here is Frank. So Frank, I don't believe he and I have ever played before, but he's been playing for quite a while. You can see he's a pretty young kid. I think he's 20, maybe younger than that. His dad, Alec, is also a big Kings of War guy. Been playing for a long time. They're both out of Duluth, Minnesota, so it's only like a hour and a half, 2 hour drive for them coming down to the Twin Cities. So, yeah, and this is our board. So the scenario was Pillage, and it was Pillage with only 5 tokens. So the tokens aren't exactly great for the board we have here, but they are these dark purple tokens. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I was placing the tokens, I was just trying to spread them out. Yeah. So we have across the middle 3. I know he has a lot more units, but I have a lot more mobility, and ideally, I'll just be able to pick on a certain side and overwhelm it, and then he hopefully won't be able to recover and get over to that side. So, but with the token, 2 of the tokens being on my side, he's going to be forced to come to me. He's not very fast. His Abyssal Hunt are the 2 units that really actually worry me. But just because they're gonna be moving up behind these guys, and they obviously hit pretty hard. But I do have tools against them, obviously with the spears. So I think overall, I think it's actually a very good matchup in general. He has no range damage whatsoever. And the only sustain he has is heal 5 from Augustus, which I think I forgot to go over in his thing. Iron just yeah, Augustus was sneaking on that second page there, so that's what rounded him out. So, but yeah, 19 drops, so he out drops me 33 unit strength. It's a lot, but it's mostly all this defense 3 stuff, and then the individuals are going to be annoying to deal with. But yeah, anyway, so deployment wise, Hank deploys penitence unit. I think the one on the far left is actually his oath sworn guardian. I couldn't actually tell, but his guardians are out here. One of these two regiments. Penitence is the other one. This is actually High Chaplain Augustus, and then his J Boot Knights are here. Regiment of Penitence, behind which one of these is a paladin, another one's a dictator, I think. Legion Regiment. Legion with the regiment behind. Double regiments. Legion with the knights behind. And then I believe he's stacking up triple chaplains for the real big rally here, or maybe there's two chaplains and a dictator, and this is a chaplain, or that other one was chaplain. I think this is a dictator. I'll be honest, I don't actually remember. Yeah, so the individuals are being individuals, and most of them are rallying. So yeah, and then my deployment, I put the Terrifying Tent with Pipes of Terror Regiment over here, Nimue, Sea Guard, Battle Cats, Bolt Thrower, the Horde, which, as you can see, we've just given up on life and left them off to the side over there. We then have Regiment of Silver Breeze with the Lord on Drakon behind them in the middle. Regiment of Seaguard, Alchemist Curse Mage with the troop of Silver Breeze, Battle Cat unit here, and Regiment of what's it called? Drakons over there. So, so for the third game in a row, we lose the first turn. And this is actually turn 2. So, sorry guys, started off poorly. Turn 1 was really quick. He just pushed up pretty much as fast as he could with everything. This is actually, I think, in the middle of his movement for turn 2. But yeah, he just pushed up quickly with everything he could. He has no shooting past turn. I hardly moved at all. I moved to the positions that you can see here, so I get off my line a little bit and just get into range for shooting. Our shooting was pretty awful in general. I think the only significant thing that happened was we got a waiver on a regiment of penitents over here on the left. Otherwise, we did just complete dog shit. I think we did 4 wounds to this legion while we pumped all 3 of these regiments into him. And granted, the Sea Guard are hitting on. He was behind the hill majority still, so only 1 unit was without cover. But 4 wounds was very underwhelming. Anyway, so he's in the middle of his movement on turn 2 here. We'll get the full view. Here we go. So, yeah, so he just moved up. His Oswan Guardians moved through the unit, so now the defense 4 ones are in front with the wavered ones behind. And Augustus there. He's playing defense with this unit. He was just running forward, getting up on the hill. 2 of his regiments are just here to kind of block up the middle, it looks like. Yeah, he's just, pushing stuff across the board fairly aggressively at this point. So on my turn, I go ahead and decide we have to commit to some charges because we're losing space and quickly. Um, and there's some good opportunities here. So we jump the regiment over and turn in. I know Augustus can come hit us. We've actually been hexing Augustus the first two turns so that he can't heal, or he can, he'll just take damage. So yeah, I know Augustus is going to be charging me, and if Augustus charges me and he turns the knights that way, I'm actually okay with that. Um, they're taking up a lot of points and a lot of stuff because I have the horde over here that's committing. So um, yeah, we go our regiment into his regiment. So thought behind this was simply I could be shooting, but I do better in combat, and the position here in combat is actually uh, just a fine position that I would want to be in anyway. So might as well get a little bit more damage in. Otherwise, we're staying out of charge range of this unit here. And over on the right, we take the battle cats into these guys, which we did 7 wounds on them, I think. And then I just did Cloak of Death from Nimue by moving up here. So Nimue is protected because this unit's in his flank or her flank, and this unit we're out of front arc actually, so can't get there. But yeah, and we're in range to unload a fireball onto this unit here, which is where we're unloading everything. So um, that's our goal this turn is to try to shoot the hell out of this unit because it stepped up on the hill. So we do kill that regiment there, and we had to reform. Our shooting here, we got 6 wounds, and we wavered this regiment, which was what we were going for. If we didn't waver it, we would just turn the other way and take the charge from the regiment in the front, which even on the counter charge, we should be just fine doing that. So, but we can turn this particular direction. There's individuals that are in range of us, but I again was just kind of in a poor position, and this gets us out there, and it forces him to either just use individuals to eventually just slow us up, but the individuals aren't particularly strong that they're going to kill us over a period of time. So we should, you know, clean up individuals. Hopefully, one turn of combat for each individual. But uh, even if not, I think we're putting our Dracons in a threatening position. And if he's not careful, an individual getting killed and overrun potentially puts us into the flank or rear of another unit. So, um, yeah. So just I like that positioning at this point. I don't think we need the big, heavy hitting Dracons to really be a true threat. Our shooting is what's going to really whittle these units down over the course of the game. So, yeah, so this is what it looks like at the end of my turn. I think we only did like 3 wounds to this unit. So, Seaguard not performing particularly well, but it's all right. Yeah, we just keep shooting over here, just keeping at bay. If he keeps coming forward after these guys, I'll just back up and eventually I'll just turn and run away if it's too much. But I think that he's gonna there's a token there, so he doesn't want to actually push forward at me too far anyway. So yeah, this is what it looks like on top 3 for Frank. So High Chaplain Augustus charged over here. We only got 2 wounds on these guys over here. Well, 3 wounds. They have Iron Resolve. So, but yeah, our shooting over here just wasn't terribly great. he just repositions like so. He brought the knights in with a double charge with the these guys here to the regiment. And I thought it was kind of curious. He could have easily taken the horde off the hill here into this regiment as well and killed him, but he decided to run forward over here. Um, yeah, not too sure his thought process with that. I would think that killing this regiment and then turning to look this way would be better, but maybe Hank just doesn't play against Silver Breeze type units enough. They're definitely not going to just sit there and let you charge them. They're going to get out of the way somehow. And then he is double individual. I believe it's the Paladin in the front and a Dictator in the flank. Um, yeah, and then he would again. It's a little weird. He was aggressive with this one, push forward, but this one it's not wavered. He just sidestepped with them. I was thinking that he would like push forward and at least keep a battle line with the regiments that he's pushed forward here. But I don't know. I'm not too sure what Frank had in mind here. So, and then he just countercharges over here. So combat, he only does 5 wounds to me, which I get the phalanx from the knights. Like he's hitting on 4s with 16 attacks and then wounding on 3 still with the crush one, and he's vicious. So he should get like 6 wounds from the knights alone, I think. And then these guys should put in another couple, 2, 3. So unfortunately bad rolling for Frank in combat here. This is the first turn of combat I believe he's in, and it is not looking hot. Speaking of not looking hot, he does 4 wounds with a legion, and they don't even get wavered. So, was expecting to lose a chaff piece in 1 turn, but no, we're fine, I guess. So we'll take those wins when we can get them, but not expected at all. And so this is what it's going to look like here on bottom of 3 for me. So we're going in. We're getting out of dodge with some things, leaving some units out high and dry here. So on the left, we countercharge into Augustus, and we get our Alchemist Curse Mage up and around to still be able to cast. We just charge the Oathsworn, and we're just going to shoot the Penitents this turn. So might as well just block these guys up, get a couple of wounds, because Battle Cats aren't actually too bad in combat, it turns out. And then here we countercharge the Penitents because easier to wound. We're not doing much tonight anyway, so yeah. And over on the right, so this is where, like I said, I think Frank might have made a mistake. He leaving that unit back here on the hill, it actually left me the opportunity to get all these units that he was walking down out of front arc. So the Silver Breeze on the far left that was over here charges in along with the horde of Seaguard. And they were sitting right here, and these 2 regiments were walking them down. I couldn't back out of charge range of these 2 regiments from the next turn, but I was able to pivot, move, and connect here, pick up, place in the final position. These guys, they're hindered. I mean, both the ones in the front are hindered, but we also got the flank from the Drakons with the brutal item here. We also flew Nimue over, get the Cloak of Death on both these units. We're going to fireball this regiment here this turn. And then we countercharge the Dictator at this point. Looking at it, we can possibly overrun to even get more of a guarantee to kill here if we get the kill on the Dictator. So, yeah, I definitely like the position there. And then this unit of Silver Breeze just pivoted and sidestepped, and we are out of the forest, and he cannot see us. So we're gonna get shots now onto this regiment. The bolt throwers right in line to shoot that regiment as well. So yeah, all in all, none of our stuff is really at in threat here, and we're loving life because we get a free countercharge with battle cats over here, which are doing more damage than legions of penitents apparently. So, um, yeah, why that picture's upside down. Anyway, shooting. We killed the regiment of penitents on the far left. We killed this regiment of penitents with the fireball. And then we kill this regiment of penitents with the regiment of Silver Breeze and the bolt thrower. So this regiment of Silver Breeze finally put out damage, trying to get back to average. I think it put out like eight damage or so this turn, which it's only been doing like one or two the previous turn. So it's been a little rough for the shooting side of things. We do kill the Legion, but we do not kill the Dictator. So we overrun with the Dracons, so they are facing this way. The Silveries are facing this way, and then the Horde turns around and faces the other direction. And we kill this regiment here as well. So we pick up like 4 or 5 units this turn, which is huge. And then we're turning to take the Knights in the front at this point. Oh, and our Lord on Drakon decided that he was just going to hop over, turn, and face inland. So we're applying pressure to the Legion here from multiple sides, and it's not able to charge anything. And then it's going to be also very limited because it can't run through the forest there. So yeah, picking stuff up here on turn 3. It's a good time to start doing it. We should hopefully see a lot more falling. Big thing that happened was we did 0 wounds to Augustus over here. Yeah, not what we want to see, but I guess like yeah, I guess it happens sometimes. So that I think is probably the least important combat out of all the ones we had this turn. So it's fine. So Frank's movement here and top of 4. He continues charge in there, counter charge there, charges here easy. He just reforms here to look. I'm surprised he didn't reform a little bit more to try to get this guy in his front. He charges his dictator, I think it is, or maybe it's a chaplain. I forget which one this is. Into the flank. He could have easily reformed, I think, to get a front with everything that I had here, but maybe I'm wrong. And he countercharges here. His knights did have a charge against the Sea Guard, but he elects not to do that. I don't blame him. I think that's a terrible place to be, especially I do have an unhindered flank charge waiting as well, so which I probably would take in that instance. But yeah, he just elects to move them and face them down the line to where some of my more threatening units are. Combat. So Chaplain Augustus did 1 wound last turn, just barely, just to sit down the regiment. And then this turn he does 1 wound again, and he rolls the boxcars. So, you know, dice happen. One thing that this army does have is only 2 units of inspiring. But I think a fair assessment would be I normally wouldn't have an inspiring source over there anyway, even if I had 3 units of inspiring. So, uh, yeah, I mean, stuff happens. So, not ideal, but I don't think again, I don't think it's a game breaking situation. I wasn't really relying on them to win the game. They were just simply supposed to help. And they did force Frank's hand in a certain extent where his knights did commit into a spear unit. So I think all in all, we're okay with that. Speaking of that spear unit, he got me up to 11 wounds this time and just wavered me. It's not Frank's day at all with dice. He finally does kill the battle cats, but those battle cats I think did like 7 or 8 wounds over the 2 rounds of combat to him. So go battle cats. And he keeps attacking here. I think I wavered his dictator this turn, and or this last turn. His high paladin hit me. This dictator or character did not do any damage to this guy, but I don't think it matters because I'm going to be taking the flank here anyway. So we'll go into my turn 4. And so he backed up after killing the battle cats over here. I'm just gonna shoot him. I moved my Alchemist Curse Mage a little bit further in, out of charge range of all these individuals. We're just gonna keep shooting these guys. So they're at 4 wounds. It's turn 4. They're gonna be sitting on a token. So hopefully we can pick them up and get our Troop of Silver Breeze over there by the end of the game. We triple charge this Legion, which can't quite tell. I think they're at 8 wounds, maybe. It's not great. Over here, we charge into the Paladin this time and let Nimue do her fireball things into the Dictator now. And we decided to take the flank charge onto the regiment. And we also moved up so that we could shoot this regiment over the top with cover. So this one's already up there. I think it's at like 15 wounds, and they're double rallied, so they're a 26-29. So with the bolt thrower helping out, I'm hoping to waver or potentially kill that unit. And yeah, so we get them up pretty good. We do 7 wounds more. So they're at 22, but we just get a waiver, which again is fine. We needed a 7 twice to kill. So we do kill the dictator in the shooting. And over here, you'll see we got. I actually did more than I remember. I think he hasn't iron resolved yet. So we did 4, but he iron resolves and he's because he was already at 4. So he's up to 8. He would go down to 7, I believe. So, yeah, and then we kill the Legion in combat, which I honestly wasn't expecting. Although these guys weren't rallied at this point, I don't think, or maybe they were only rallied 1. But they had 8 wounds on them, so effectively, I think they were a 25-28 at this point in time. And it's oh, it's the rampage from the flank that really did it. Yeah, I forgot. That guy has D3 rampage, so and then brutal, so yeah, that makes more sense then. Anyway, so this is how the board looks. We do kill the regiment over here as well. So right about now, top of turn 5 is now when we're going to start looking at the tokens. We're already in the vicinity. We have a plan for this token on the far left. This one here in the middle and on the bottom left, we only have a regiment of knights, which again has to go through the spears, and I'll have multi-charges waiting for them. And then we're probably not getting this one up here unless, well, I mean, this unit's wavered, so we actually have a decent chance of getting it. Over the course of a couple turns if we pick up both these units, but realistically I'm not focusing on that one. I will get this one though. So Frank's movement is like so. There's really not much left for him to move. He just repositions this unit and heals them. 9 wounds now. This is before he heals, I think. But And then he does this. So it's hard to see, but he does have one of his chaplain characters hindered into these guys. So he's trying to just stop the shooting, charge the horde as well. So this is the beginning of my turn. So he does kill the spears. Otherwise, nothing else dies, as we kind of expect. On the left, we're just going to shoot him again. So I must have taken the picture before I did the Alchemist Curse or something, because he's still at 9 wounds for some reason. Frank messed up his heals somehow. I don't know. Anyway, over here we withdraw and we start sidestepping. We only took 2 wounds from him. As long as we don't get wavered, we're going to be able to do the same thing. Withdraw, sidestep onto the token over here. Yeah, which is ultimate goal. Our bolt thrower shoots here. Get a waiver again, which is fine. Nimue just had a fireball to shoot, so she shot it. What the hell? And then we only took the general into this unit, and then we turned around. Oh, it was his individual. I hit the individual. His individual charged into the horses here, and then I double charged him back, and I only took the character here to disorder them, and then he should be able to take 1 punch from the regiment. I did turn these guys around to look at the knights. But the good news is that the horde of Dracons has now cleared up all the individuals around it, so it will be looking at this knight unit. I knew that before I did the combat down here. That's why I reformed in this way. So Frank's turn 6. Really nothing too exciting. I think it should be said as well. Frank did a decent amount of damage to the horde over here. I think it was like 9 or 10. I countercharged him last turn, only did like 4 back, so he has a good chance of breaking this horde this next turn. I am inspired though, so we'll see. So he gets a waiver after doing 4 wounds. So again, this unit in particular just does not want to perform. And then he does kill the horde over here. Otherwise, he was just healing and whatnot there. So again, pretty speedy turns. There's not a whole lot left. We commit. We move up. We say 8 wounds on him. That should be enough, hopefully, because our shooting sucked the last turn, and he healed him back. So, but 8 wounds. We're hoping. We got Alchemist Curse. We got this 7 shots. They're only defense 4. For the love of God, let's kill them. And then our bolt thrower, we do the same thing to get within 3 inches that we did last turn. Which, yeah. And then he turns to look at the Dracon unit here. We also have Nimue in range to fireball the horde. So we do kill the regiment, and we're within the 3 inches. So we have this token on the left. If the game ends, we kill that unit, and nobody's controlling it. Hooray! And we kill the knights. And this is a picture of the end of the game because there is no turn 7. So we decided that we were not committing these guys into the front of the knights, even though we could definitely have killed them. It's more important to just sit on a token and stay out of 16 inches of him. Yeah, because he had nothing he was going to do on turn 7 if there was one. So in the end, we had 4 of the 5 tokens, and Frank ended up with none. We did not get max battle points, though, because he has 1, 2, 3 individuals plus Augustus, so 4 individuals left, and the Regiment of Knights. So that's a good, like, 500-600 points at least. Yeah. So we got 18 out of the possible 19 points for this round. But that puts us right up there. There's only one person that was 1 point behind us going into this round. So if they get a max uh, attrition game, they're going to be tied with us then for battle. And yeah, so feel really good about the elves as a whole. I feel like in our 3 games, we actually did get 3 favorable matchups. I think the on paper the hardest counter was probably the ogres, just because they had the aura stealthy. But we kind of saw in that game what we can do with the positioning and the mobility, and how although we do have a lot of shooting, we're not reliant on that to work and to win games. Um, I would say overall the shooting was below average, at least early on in the games, which is where you really want it to shine. Because like even this game against Frank, we didn't pick up a unit until turn 3, and he has all of these, you know, regiments of low defense units, and a lot of them to where there's plenty of clear shots, no cover and whatnot. Um, but yeah, in general, I'm pretty happy with how the army performed. It's exactly what I'm going to be taking this next week to Crossroads GT. So hoping for a good turnout there. I think this was definitely a good practice run. Learned a few new things, and yeah, very happy with it. So in the end, I actually took second. So I'm gonna call Jason out for not actually following his rule pack, which we all saw. I went over word for word here that it said that you were taking first and second general, which everybody knows general is only battle points, but apparently to him general is battle plus sports. So the infamous Travis Tim was the one that was 1 point behind us. He only got an 18 in his last game as well, so we were still ahead by 1 point. But Travis got one more vote for best game than we did, so that's all right. If I was going to lose to anybody, I guess Travis was fine. But the Outlanders, us Omaha guys, Travis took first, I took second, and then Billy won the Player's Choice model. So he submitted one of his Trident Realm sharks that he's painted this last year, and got the vote for that. So congratulations to him. It's an awesome model. I know typically I try not to homer and vote for club mates or people that I travel with necessarily, but I really do like that model, and I think it was extremely well done. So I did vote for Billy's model. So um, but yeah, otherwise, as you can see here in the background, we're just hanging out after the events. We're going to be hanging out there well into the night. Bonfire. There's brisket, burgers, brats still, pulled pork, mac and cheese, all good stuff. And there was even put on some football games and watched that. We pulled out some commander decks and played some Magic, so it was just a great time. Had a ton of fun. So would definitely recommend if you guys are looking for an awesome event. And even though it is a 1 day, I actually really enjoy the fact that it is a 1 day, because you can kind of let loose more on Saturday night, sleep in, have brunch with the guys, and then kind of meander home at like noon instead of getting home extremely late in the night. So being home by like 5 o'clock in the afternoon is pretty great. So, but yeah, well run events. I'd like to say Jason did it, but really Connor Murphy was the one running the event. Every time I looked over, he was inputting scores and whatnot. Jason says he's a good delegator, but I don't know, man. I don't know if he really did anything besides just drink with us the whole weekend. So only kidding, but had a blast. Had three really fun games, three really fun opponents. So thank you all, and thanks everybody that's been watching. I hope you had some fun because I know I did. So we'll see you on the next one.